Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, on behalf of the Russian Center of Science and Culture, I would like to congratulate all of you with the International Language Day. And for attention, I have prepared a short speech of the current state, of the Russian language. The position of the national language in the country and beyond its borders is one of the key factors in the development of any state. The frequency and the regularity of the use of the national Russian language in the international arena is an important marker of status and interest aroused. In the modern, rapidly changing world, it is extremely difficult to assess it objectively. In the one hand, there is a standard criteria, the number of people who speak a particular language, but on the other hand, today, in addition of this traditional indicator, one should take into account the influence of global means of communication, mass media, as well as the influence of the international sphere of science, education, and other trends. In other words, in order to determine the position of a language in the world, a universal indicator is needed. The experts of the Pushkin State Institute of the Russian Language for the first time proposed an index of the position of the Russian language in the world. It is calculated according to a transparent formula and can serve as an objective basis for making decisions in the field of state language policy, prioritizing resources for specific measures to support the Russian language abroad, and assessing the effectiveness of actions taken. Based on the data collected and processed in the 2022 by the experts of the Pushkin State Institute, two indices were developed: the Global Competitiveness Index of the Russian language and Index of Russian language stability in the post-Soviet countries. I will briefly describe the first one. The Global Competitiveness Index of the Russian language is an integral indicator based on the comparison of the position of the Russian language and its closest global competitors. This year, the Russian language was compared with 11 languages of the world. The Global Competitiveness Index of the Russian language is calculated based on the analysis of data on 6 parameters. So here they are. Language by the numbers of speakers. This model is most often heard in the media and in statistical information. According to it, the Russian language today occupies the 8th place. It is spoken by about 257 million people. The top 3 leaders of this indicator are English, Chinese, and Hindi. Second, the languages by the number of international organizations in which they are official or working. In the terms of status in international organizations, Russian ranks 4th, being an official of working language in 15 major international organizations out of 23 reviewed, primarily in UN and global sectoral organizations under its auspices. Third, languages by the number of publications in international scientific databases. To calculate this parameter, the indicators of the 2 leading scientific databases, Scopus and Web of Science, which adhere to strict quality standards in the field of publication and scientific research results, were taken into account. According to this criteria, the Russian language took 5th place. Fourth, languages by the number of media outlets. The monitoring took into account media outlets that have an international ICCN identifier, which allows identifying a serial publication regardless of where it is published, in what language, and on what medium. According to the authors of the study, registration of the ICCN International Register is evidence of the media's orientation towards modern international standards. Here is the Russian language ranks 7th. Fifth, languages by number of internet users. More than 160 million users have chosen Russian as the language of online communication, which puts Russian language in the 10th place. And finally, languages by number of sites. According to this criteria, Russian ranks 2nd, behind English. However, here the gap between the leaders is as large as in the field of science. By the number of sites on internet, the Russian language ranked 2nd after English as in 2020 index, and it should be noted a slight increase in the share of sites using English as a content language compared to 2020, and a decrease in the share of sites using most of other languages considered in the index. In the short term, a change of the position of Russian in this list is not expected. That's all. Thank you for your attention.